Hey guys, we did it. We're here. We're doing a second video. Last time I talked to you guys about how I wanted to share a few of my stories from the past. And this is the first one I'm gonna bring to you guys today. It is about my very short-lived career as a comic artist, webcomic artist, maker. I don't know. So I did like 3 comics in total in the span of like 3 weeks. And the first one I made was about an experience that I had in the past. It was the experience of my first ever date. Looking back at it in hindsight, it's a pretty funny story. It is a pretty cringe story as well. But anyway, I decided to do about that. Back then, I was watching like a lot of storytime YouTubers, like The Odd Ones Out, JD Animations, and those kinds of videos. And I was looking at them and being like, oh, that's so fun. And like, I have some stories that I could tell, I'm pretty sure. But I didn't want to make videos because I wasn't so sure of my ability to make them at the time, especially when it comes to animation stuff. It's not exactly my cup of tea. So I ended up thinking, you know what I can do? I can do comics. I do believe I can make a comic. So I sat down in front of my computer, stared at it for a few hours, and was like brainstorming in my head, okay, what story can I tell? Like what can I put? What can be funny that I can make it into this format and people can watch it and maybe have a chuckle, right? And as I said, I ended up cycling back to this story of my first ever date and sat down in front of the computer, started drawing characters, backgrounds, planning out the paneling, planning out how I would tell the story. And around 6 a.m. of that day, I finished it. I spent all night drawing it, writing it, rewriting it, redrawing it. And then I was like, oh fuck, is this fun? Is this a funny story? Will people like it? Should I fucking post it? Where should I fucking post it? And at the end of the day, my insecurities didn't win that day. And I decided, okay, I'm gonna post it on Anger.com, which was a site that I knew about. I posted some images there in the past so that I could share with some friends. And I said, okay, I can post it here. And around 8 a.m., I posted it and just went to sleep. So it's a very simple story. It's not crazy or anything. It was like at the end of the school day, a friend of mine who I have been talking for a while came up to me and asked if I wanted to go to the movies after school, if I wanted to see a movie with her. And I was like, sure, that sounds cool. I'd like that. Let's go. What are we watching? And she was like, oh no, we can decide what we will watch when we get there. Okay. Sure. So I went back home, took out the uniform, put something new, something like literally the first thing I found on the closet. I was like, okay, yeah, let's take this shirt, put it on. Let's go to the movies. So I arrive at the cinema and she's all dressed up. And I'm like, hey, so who else is coming? And she's like, oh, no, it's just us. I was like, oh, cool. That's cool. What are we watching? So she decides to watch Smurfs 3D with Neil Patrick Harris. Okay, that's an odd choice. I do like Neil Patrick Harris though. It could be interesting with Smurfs 3D. I don't read into things. I am a pretty oblivious person. For the most part, things just fly over my head constantly, and I just sat down and I watched the movie. I had no idea why the fuck we were watching Smurfs 3D, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay attention to it. So then I was like, okay, movies are to be watched. That's all there is to it. Like, I'm gonna watch this movie and I'm gonna pay attention to it. God damn it, I paid attention to it. And that was it. We watched the movie. We ate ice cream afterwards. We took a walk on the beach. I took her home, and then I went home and was like, okay, that was kind of fun. It was fine. And went to sleep, and to me, that was it. So I arrive at school the next day, right? And my friend comes up to me and was like, oh, hey, how is your date with Heather? Date? Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Shit. So that's the story, okay? It's a very simple story. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Like, okay, that's fine. That's a story I've told my friends in the past, and everybody thinks it's funny. I think it will make a good comic. So I post it, go to sleep. That's it. The comic is just a very condensed version of the story. Did it the best way I could. By the way, her name's not Heather, that's obvious. When I woke up, the post had blown up. It got like 100,000 views. To me, that's a lot. A shit ton of upvotes, a lot of comments. It basically went viral on the site. It got chosen to be on the staff picks, which I was very proud of. People were doing crazy shit on the comments. Like one guy animated the last panel of the comic, which to me was insane, dude. That was so cool. I was looking at that and being like, holy shit. And that was my first comic. That was literally my first comic. The name of the post, my first comic. At this point, I'm hyped. I'm looking my insecurities on the face and saying, ha, fuck you. I did it. Smug son of a bitch was looking back at me with the just you wait look. Fuck. So I started working on the next one, right? It did well. People liked it. People were asking for more. People were very supportive. I was very happy about that. And I'm going to put it on the screen for you guys so you can see the second comic. I'm not going to go into detail like I did the first one. And it didn't do well. It was not something people liked. People didn't like it at all. The thing about it is that it wasn't relatable. It was something that happened to me when I was a kid that I always found interesting, but it wasn't exactly funny. It was more or less kind of meh. Looking back to it, I was like, yeah, that makes sense that people didn't like it. It didn't affect me too much. I was like, that's fine. Some are gonna stick, some are gonna not. This was kind of out there. I need to be funnier, or I need to tell a story that's funnier that people can relate. And then I did my last comic, this one. It's very simple. It is a very simple joke. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have made this joke, but I thought about it and I was like, okay, I can do it like this. I think it will be interesting. It did worse than the dog one. It did worse than the dog one. It did much worse. It was completely bad. And that's when I made the mistake of letting it get to me. I got dismotivated and I just stopped doing comics. And I was done to do that. I had a great start, and then things didn't exactly follow suit and I let it get to me. But it wasn't... Here's the thing. Whatever you do, not everything's gonna work out exactly as you want. And especially when you're creating content, not every single content that you create is gonna get to people. And the only way that you can get better at anything ever is to do it over and over again. Repetition is how you get better at something. You do it over and over and over, and you go getting experience, trying new things and getting better at it. That's just the nature of things. Failing, succeeding occasionally, that's the way to become good at something. Be it sports, be it content creation, hell, be it any fucking job. You get better at it with time. And it's not like I didn't know that back then. It's just like it was a very hard time in my life. I was looking for a job and I was receiving no after no after no. And when you let that get to your head, it starts to mess up with how you view things. It's a very hard thing to explain. Insecurities just creep up onto you and you start letting them invade your thoughts, and you let them interfere with your decision making. And that's the worst thing you can do, because things don't just come easy. We have to work hard for what we want. I don't know if my comics would have popped off. I don't know if I would have been able to leave off of that. But the one thing I know is that if I kept doing it, which was something that I did enjoy doing, I would have gotten better at it. That's just a natural progression. If I had become better at doing comics, I would be very happy about it. I really wanted to perfect that technique, that skill. But here's the thing, the way I look at this experience is not negative. I think that we have a lot of looking back at stuff that we did wrong and just beating ourselves over it. I think it's better to look at it and it happened. I was wrong. How can I not let that happen again? How can I improve moving forward? It was a lesson to me, even if I took way too long to realize it. And I think those are the two messages that I want to convey with this video. Don't let yourself stop doing something that you want to do because of the inevitable bumps on the road that you're gonna face. They're there for everyone in different shapes at different times. Everyone goes through hardships to get what they want. And the second one is be critical of your past. Look back at what you've done and be ready to accept your mistakes. Look at them and decide how can you be better, how can you grow from those experiences. I know that's something I apply to my life as much as I can. I've made a shit ton of mistakes. You're gonna make a shit ton of mistakes. Everybody will do a shit ton of mistakes. There are people who look at mistakes and fail to accept that those were mistakes and fail to accept that you need to look back at it and be critical and decide that that's not the better version of yourself that you were being. What can I do to be better? It's important to allow yourself to acknowledge when you fuck up. Could you tell that I did a little script this time? It was a little bit better. I put my camera phone to record, so it was better than my webcam. We're moving up. See, I looked at mistakes from the first video and I did some tweakings here and there. The audio probably gonna be better this time around as well. It was barely hearable on the last video unless you cranked up your audio to max. Anyway, that's the story. Hope you guys liked it. See you in the next video. If you liked the video, comment below. I would love to see you guys comment. And till next time,